I'm just gonna go. Oh yeah, that's my family.
start of school is absolutely crazy. And just like you guys, you're studying for finals, you're waiting till the last minute to complete projects or essays. But, in all fairness, I barely sleep this week as well. In fact, earlier today, when we were planning this assembly, Mrs. Pinkelman said, Mr. Sterling, you're going to pass out certificates. All I heard was, Mr. Sterling, you're going to pass out. And I thought, yeah, probably. And wouldn't that have been hilarious? I mean, that would actually get me on the front page again of the newspaper, although this time it would be not just for sitting in a chair, but like falling out of it. Anyway, I digress. That's fancy for getting off topic. Sorry, my daughter is obsessed with Fancy Nancy books lately. My point is that despite all the craziness at the end of the year, there is also a lot of joy and wonder. Every year, despite the fact that every year cranes come back by the thousands and fly overhead, I can't help it but stare in wonder at the amazing journey that they have taken and realize that it means I won't have to cook Friday night because the drive-in is open. It also on an amazing journey. Despite the fact that every year we return to this gym and we sit here and hand out these awards, it never ceases to amaze me, the journey you are on. And I get to stare in wonder as one class migrates out of school and another joins us on the journey. I want to thank all of you for coming today and joining me in recognizing the accomplishments of so many of our students, and for recognizing the support and dedication of so many people in our school and in our community. Thank you all for coming. At this time, I'd like to start us off with our first trio of awards, designated by the U.S. Marine Corps. Staff Sergeant Garber, if you would, please. Is everyone doing okay? Can everyone hear me? So, if anyone does not know, my name is Staff Sergeant Garland. I am your local Marine Corps representative. Alright? I just want to say from the very beginning, thank you, staff, for allowing me to come out and actually talk for a couple minutes. As the United States Marine Corps, would like to recognize the superior achievements of the Scholastic Scholars. Now, the awards will be presented in 3 different categories: academics, athletics, and music. The very first award, the Distinguished Athlete Award, recognizes the high school varsity athlete who displays courage, poise, and self-confidence and leadership, and was an exemplary citizen, positive role model for the younger students. Now, without further ado, the United States Marine Corps takes pleasure in presenting the Distinguished Athlete Award to, pause for effect, Cal Durham. By all means, if I say your name wrong, please correct me. We'll get a picture at the end. All right. The United States Marine Corps takes pleasure in presenting the Scholastic Excellence Awards to, all right, Samuel Tavarenko. Semper Fidelis Award for Musical Excellence. presented to, please, Devin Hodges. Congratulations. That is all I have. You guys are good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Staff Sergeant Garber and the United States Marine Corps. For many years, our local American Legion post has supported our students by hosting a scholarship-based speech competition each year, and this year was no different. However, the results were a little different. I'd like to invite Post Commander William Brennan to tell you about how this year's competition went.
Counterpart, wherever he went, the Army guys, we can actually carry our voice with inflection, we don't need all that. They leave, they're going to kick me in the parking lot. So, every year we do a local oratorical speech competition, and this year we have the individual that won the local go to the state. And when he went to the state, he also won that and went to national. He represented Delta Junction in the national competition throughout all the United States of America. So on behalf of the Jack Corps Post number 22, I would like to recognize with a certificate of appreciation Mr. Seth Hansen. For all of his books and whatnot, and other little various things that normally when you go to college and get a scholarship for, you can't really spend the money on. But we're a little more lenient on the American Legion side. So this is in recognition and sincere appreciation of outstanding performance in the local, Alaska State, and national oratorical competition of the American Legion, and your dedication to being a great citizen of the United States for God and country. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brennan. Congratulations, sir. One of the remarkable attributes of our small school is the many different options we have and the numerous directions our students can fly off to after graduation. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Tim Brennan of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers to introduce the next stage of that journey for a trio of our seniors.
Well, I'm not going to yell at you. I'll use the mic. Came back in to find out that Army guy went. So I'd like to say congratulations to you seniors that are graduating. And more, I'd like to say congratulations to their parents. My son's walking tomorrow, so I understand the path or the journey it's taken to get these students to this point here. So please give a round of applause to the parents and also the teachers. So every year, Mr. Hall gives us some recommendations when he feels that they're outstanding students in his program. And this year, he's given us 3 names, and they came in, sat down with adults, and they actually interviewed just like everybody else did, and blew us away. They did a great job. So what they're looking forward to is they're going to get a chance to go through some training without any money coming out of their pocket. So they don't have to go through the school for 4 years and pay upwards of $100,000. They get on-the-job training, and we'll pay them a decent wage each hour they work. And while they're doing that, they're also getting a nice health benefit, nice retirement wages, and secure income for them and their families. the next 5 years until they become journey level workers. So if you're not familiar with our apprenticeship program, that's kind of the benefit for it. And we'll go ahead and get started. Mr. Hall, can you please join us? So as I call your name, please stop by Mr. Hall, because Mr. Chris Morley with Morley Electric has a scholarship each year, and Chris Morley has donated 3 sets of tool bags. So it's basically comes up to about a $1,000 scholarship each year he contributes to this school and this program. So this is in order how they scored, and this first person came in and she actually kind of just blew us away. And there was 2 contractors there, and both of them said after the interview they'll take her on the spot. So Leah Maxwell, will you please come stand? So the second place also has some family in our local. His brother probably went through the same program he did just a couple years ago, and I believe that Daniel was also a recipient of this program you guys have here. Will Maxim Kilman please join us? So originally we asked Mr. Hall for 2 names, and we saw that work was going to pick up, so we're going to need quite a few more people. And without hesitation, Mr. Hall actually endorsed Daniel Novotarski for So these 3 here have been accepted into our Inside Wireman program. Our Inside Wireman program consists of basically what you see in here. They're going to be doing lamps, receptacles, everything inside the building, and don't let it fool you, they'll be out there every day. I've been there myself. So they're all going to spend the next 5 years with me at the school, and once they pass the 8,000 on-the-job training, plus the 5 years of apprenticeship schooling that they'll go through, then they'll become journey level workers, hopefully return to the community and be successful citizens.
So the 3 of you afterwards, we want to have you sign your commitment paperwork, so if you can see us after the ceremony, please, we'll get those. My thanks to Tim for coming down from Fairbanks, and my thanks to Chris Morley and Morley Electric for their scholarship of the tools for each one of them. So thanks for all of that. Thank you very much. So, one of the things that I have always found, I mean, it's only been 3 years, but you realize this when you're a newcomer to Delta, you see this right away. How quickly the community is out there to help people, to support our school, and to support our students. So this next section is a series of scholarships and awards to our students from local community entities and businesses. We have a number that were able to come here today and actually present for you. So I'm going to start off with our Delta High School Booster Club, Mrs. Harris and Mr. Shannon, please.
So each year, the Delta High Booster Club has a scholarship they offer. Part of this is essay writing and an in-person interview as well, and recommendations. And we have 2 winners this year. The DHS Booster Club would like to recognize Keely Harris for upholding campus traditions and invigorating school spirit, providing positive student involvement in sports and academic achievements. And we would also like to recognize Priscilla Joslin for upholding campus traditions, invigorating school spirit, providing positive school involvement in sports and academic achievements. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon and Mrs. Paris, and congratulations. Next, our next group is the Pinkelman Foundation. Deborah Milligan and Mrs. Pinkelman will be presenting.
So I had the honor of being on the committee to help choose the recipients of the Adapting to Adversity Scholarship this year. And we all face challenges in our lives, and it takes a lot of courage to talk about them, and discipline and effort to make changes when you face obstacles. So I'd like to introduce you to the founder of the Adapting to Adversity Scholarship, Lindsay Pinkelman.
It is my honor to award the Adapting to Adversity Scholarship. These awards are only possible through the generosity of our community, both locally and nationally, who have supported my scholarship foundation through the Purses for a Purpose auction. I started this foundation to give back to our community after my injury on June 30th, 2017. It's so hard to talk about. My family and I received an outpouring of love, both emotionally and financially. I was overwhelmed with gratitude, and I wanted to give back to this wonderful town. I began the Purses for a Purpose auction to maintain funding for this scholarship, which was so successful, and I am delighted to be able to present scholarships to 4 deserving applicants this year. The Adapting to Adversity Scholarship Committee and I are pleased to award $750 to Ashley Bavard and Priscilla Jocelyn. We are also pleased to award $500 to Grace Kaspari and Tyler Anderson. The committee and I would like to thank all the applicants that applied for the scholarship, and we wish you the best of luck on your future endeavors.
Thank you, Mrs. Milligan and Mrs. Pinkelman. Our next awards are from the Clearwater Moose Lodge. Mr. Croson, if you would please.
Thank you. I'd like to say this school has put out some very intelligent and beautiful people here. We had 14 candidates for our scholarship, and we made it extremely difficult for our decision. The Delta Clearwater Moose Lodge 911 awards a scholarship to Miss Keely Ann Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Croson. Next, the women of the Moose. Sorry, we'll try that again. Next, the women of the Moose, Vicky Zacco presenting.
Anyway, we have 2 scholarships. One is for Ashley Bavard for $500. Is for Grace Kaspari for $1,000.
Our next awards from Debbie Joslin Realty. Mrs. Joslin.
I wanted to say thank you to God for blessing me with my business, and because He's been good to me and shared with me abundantly, I want to share with you guys. And so giving out 2 awards for academic excellence and leadership and community service, and the first one goes to Grace Kaspari for $500. And the second award is to Keely Harris for $500.
Thank you, Mrs. Joslin. Our next award is from the Delta Greeley Educational Support Paraprofessionals Association, and that award goes to Grace Kaspari for $500. Our next set of awards are from a longtime Delta Husky supporters, the IGA Food Cash, and Ed and Gail Larson. The first award is for $1,000 for the Gary Frederick Memorial Scholarship, goes to Cale Durham. And also joining Cale on stage for their scholarships from IGA Food Cash, 2 awards of $500 to Ashley Bavard and Grace Kaspari. A big thank you to Ed and Gail at IGA. Thank you very much. The next few awards, I don't have certificates to hand out, and so to save your steps for the day, if you would please rise when I announce your award, and we can recognize you that way. Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 from the Pioneers of Alaska, Priscilla Jocelyn. From the Delta Greeley Education Association, a scholarship of $500 to Cale Durham. From the Delta Lions Club, a scholarship in the amount of $1,000 to Fiona Barnard. From Delta Dental, 2 scholarships, each in the amount of $1,000 to Grace Kaspari and Patrick Kaiser. From Arctic Chiropractic, a scholarship in the amount of $500 to Patrick Kaiser. Two scholarships in the amount of $250 each from the Delta Skating Association, one for Isaac Roos and for Patrick Kaiser. And a scholarship in the amount of $1,000 from Delta Concrete, Anita Kravitz. And the last, but certainly not the least, of our community scholarships, from the Drive-In and BJ Sloan, a scholarship in the amount of $500 to Anita Kravitz. Once again, my thanks to all of the individuals and organizations who support our students. The amount that was given out today is truly remarkable, and my thanks go out to all of the individuals and organizations that have supported our students. Thank you very much. Our next set of awards, the U.S. Army Reserve National Scholar Athlete Award. The objective of this award program is to recognize and honor student achievers, juniors or seniors who have demonstrated outstanding achievements in varsity or intramural sports while maintaining at least a B average. The scholar athletes, one female and one male, are selected by their high school administrators and athletic directors. This year, the awards go to Keely Harris and Patrick Kaiser. Congratulations. Okay, so the reward for these next two is the opportunity to give a speech at Thursday night's graduation. I know many of you would say, if the reward is that I have to give a speech in front of the entire community, I ain't going for it, I ain't doing it. So despite that, these two students are continuing to work even after their final has been given. They have one more deadline to meet, I need your speeches by tomorrow afternoon. To receive these honors, you have to have had the 2 highest cumulative GPAs in your class. Pop quiz. Freshmen only. What is a GPA? Thank you, Marcy. I will say that when I asked that question of the current 8th graders, at least 20 of them shouted out the answer. They seem to think they're going to be doing much better in the battle of the classes than the freshmen did this year. So we'll have to wait and see. Their final GPAs literally calculated 47 minutes ago. For Fiona, after 4 years, a 4.17 GPA. And for Keely, 4.22. So please help me congratulate your salutatorian, Fiona Barnard, and your valedictorian, Keely Harris. Our next set of awards are a statewide award that goes to the University of Alaska Scholars. This award is given each year to the top 10% of students who have exceptional academic achievements at the end of their junior year. The criterion is based upon a student's cumulative GPA, and the scholars receive $12,000 in scholarships over 8 semesters, which applies to all University of Alaska campuses across the state. This year's recipients, in alphabetical order, are Fiona Barnard, Keely Harris, Priscilla Joslin, and Grace Kaspari. Congratulations to our UA Scholars. Next up is our Alaska Performance Scholarship. The APS is another statewide scholarship program given to Alaska high school students who complete a rigorous curriculum, receive excellent grades, and score well on college placement and work readiness exams. The students can use the APS scholarship for participating in colleges, universities, or vocational programs across the state. And I would add that if you are working toward the Diploma of Distinction, then you will have met all of the course requirements for this scholarship at the end of your senior year. So if you're thinking about which graduation diploma to be working toward, there's one more reason to push yourself for that Diploma of Distinction. The Level 1 awards are up to $4,755. Keely Harris and Kale Durham. And the level 3 awards, which are up to $2,378. Anita Kravitz, Patrick Kaiser, Ashley Bavard, Seth Hansen, and Fabiola Lugo. A big hand for our Alaska Performance Scholarship winners. Oh, there we go. Number 10. The President's Award. The President's Award for Outstanding Academic Excellence recognizes academic success in the classroom. In order to qualify for this award, students must have a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or higher and have scored at or above the 75th percentile on both reading and math portions of the SAT or ACT tests. The two students that met those requirements this year, Keely Harris and Priscilla Johnston. Congratulations to our President Award winners. Now we move on to the President's Award for Outstanding Academic Achievement. This one is given upon teacher recommendations, and this award recognizes students grades 9 through 12 who've demonstrated outstanding educational growth, improvement, commitments, or intellectual development in their academic subjects. In the freshman class, Cadence Wrigley and Shelby Markham. Just remember, when you're valedictorian and salutatorian, you got to give the speech, okay? Not helpful. In our 10th grade class, Wesley Hollenbeck. In our junior class, Natasha Donetz, Philip Osipchuk, and Travis Terry. And in our senior class, Leah Maxwell, Zentrea Brown, Morris Trofimoff, and Samuel Tararenko. A big hand for our President's Award for Outstanding Academic Achievement. Nice job, guys. Next up, our Husky Representative Award. This award is given to those students who've been involved in activities while excelling academically and representing our school and community with pride. This is a teacher-nominated award for students who participated in 3 or more activities throughout the year. In our freshman class, Alyssa Hooten and Marcelo Castillo. In our sophomore class, Alexis York and Woodson Hicks. In our junior class, Haley Williams and Jason Montez. And in our senior class, Priscilla Joslin, Patrick Kaiser, and Keely Harris. Congratulations to our Husky Representative Award winner. Next up, I would like to invite Ms. Turnbull, our Student Council sponsor, to present the Student Council Awards.
Hello. So we have something new this year, and we would like to recognize the seniors who have been on student council for the last, or not for the last 2 years, but have participated for 2 years actively. So I would like Keely Harris to come up, please. Priscilla Jocelyn. Devin Hodges. And Leah Maxwell. To be an active participant in student council takes a lot of hard work, and we do a lot of stuff that you guys don't even see. And so it takes quite a bit of commitment. So on top of the certificate that you will be receiving, you will also be receiving a cord to wear at graduation to signify your involvement. Thank you very much. Also, if I give you a white piece of paper at the beginning, come up now.
council. Whereas, who's even in Stuco?
Whereas no one filled Mustang's shoes.
Whereas, why, Mr. Lambert? Why?
Whereas talent show makes the paper.
Whereas I am the only chair.
Whereas naps and Netflix in the lobby.
Whereas who skipped senior skip day?
Whereas lunch trays belong in the hallways.
Whereas, Coach, it's just cider, I swear. Whereas, Mr. Sterling, stop referring to yourself in the third person during announcements.
Whereas is Diego awake?
Whereas, Aaron, blow your nose.
Whereas I've got the horses in the back.
Whereas Mr. Shannon, wait for us to stand up to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Whereas, where did all the beanbags go?
Therefore, be it resolved by the Delta High student body that we declare the 2018-2019 school year was whoa.
Can we have Ms. Turnbull come back? Ms. Turnbull, yeah. So Ms. Turnbull has been advisor for the last 2 years, and she volunteers, she comes in early, she stays late for all of our school dances and stuff. So all the student council wanted to give me these flowers as a token of our appreciation.
And Mr. Sterling says the lunch trays belong in the small gym and the bean bags were given to the teachers. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Shannon up to the stage to hand out the music awards. Mr. Shannon, if you would please.
So as you guys know, music students went to Anchorage last week to participate in the ASAA Solo Ensemble Festival. And so we'd like to recognize those students that went and competed at the state level. Once you hear your name, if you can come up on stage. Kale Durham. Sabrina Fila. Ozzy is not here. We're not shocked by that. All right, Devin Hodges. Abigail Howell. Patrick Kaiser. Shelby Markham. Nikolai Pagan Cologne. Jacob Schmidt. Haley Harris. So a big hand to these students who traveled and participated at the state level for music. All right, and we'll have all but Devin and Kale go back to their seats. At the concert on last Tuesday, we presented the band and choir awards, but we want to recognize them for the whole school. These are the plaques that are outside of the music room, and we just have a reproduction of the certificate they got. All right, for the John Philip Sousa Band Award, that was awarded to Devin Hodges. And the National School Choral Award went to Cale Durham. And both of those awards are both have leadership components and also musical excellence components as well. Both of these students have participated at the state level multiple times and helped to lead their various classes. Thank you, guys. He is not here, but we'll present it anyways. This is the KDHS Volunteer Sportscaster Award, and that will be going to Austin Hilton for his many years of calling different basketball games. So when you see Ozzy, give him a hand and thank you.
Okay, at this time, I would like to invite Mr. Klein to the stage to give out the Gary Duby Award. Mr. Klein?
It is an honor to be presenting this award. I really believe that it is the highest honor an athlete can achieve here at Delta High School. Gary Duby was a student at Delta High School. He graduated in 1977. Gary was one of the nicest people around. He was a small guy for his age, but he never let that get in his way. What he didn't have in size, he made up for in dedication, heart, and desire. He gave 100% participating in sports. He loved baseball and basketball. He was the guy that was going to dive for every loose ball, even if there was only a small chance he could get it. He was the kind of guy that would dive headfirst into a base, even though he didn't really need to. He was never arrogant. He was always glad to be there and would do anything to help out his team. Gary Duby was Mr. Hustle and the definition of heart. Tragically, Gary died a few years after graduating from high school in an accident on his way to work in Talkeetna. The Gary Duby Award recognizes a student athlete that best mirrors the traits that Gary Duby had. I'd like to present the 2019 Gary Duby Award to Patrick Kaiser.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Nice job on the stairs. Congratulations, Patrick. Next up will be our college recognition. So these students have made commitments to universities around the country. We'd like to give them an opportunity to be recognized and for all of you to see what they have planned for the next stage in their lives. The following students have committed to attend the University of Alaska Fairbanks in the fall. Grace Kaspari. Mark Bazan. Sulamita Boldanyuk. Morris Trofimov. and Omar Powers. Good luck to your future Nanooks. The next group are headed south to the University of Alaska, Anchorage. Aaron Mills. Ryan Zarecki. Anita Kravitz. And Fabiola Lugo Vasquez. Congratulations, future SeaWolves. And we have 6 students who are leaving the state of Alaska to head to their next placement. Going to Central Michigan University, Priscilla Joslin. Next, to Weber State University, Fiona Barnard. To the University of Portland, Devin Hodges. Montana State University, Cale Durham. To Brigham Young University, Patrick Kaiser. And to Kansas State University, Seth Hansen. A big hand. Mr. Shannon, if you'd join us up on stage, please. All right, last but not least tonight, the following two students are not only heading out of state to college, but they are committed to playing sports at their university. And we give them an opportunity today to sign their respective intent letters. Heading to Geneva College, Keely Harris. And to Sierra College, Ashley Bavar. It's a huge commitment not only to agree to go to college for the next 4 years, but to balance college and athletics is a real challenge. Good luck to you both. Nice job. Congratulations. So I have one last special award to hand out today to a senior who did something that honestly is truly remarkable from my standpoint. You see, there are 171 days in a school year. For seniors, 168, something like that. This senior managed to go the entire school year without one absence. If you would please, give a huge hand for Mr. On Time. Mr. Sterling says, nicely done. However, please give a huge round of applause to Mr. On Time and perfect attendance for the 2018-19 school year, Mr. Devin Hodges. So we only have a few minutes left, and I know that there are many people here who want to take a minute to take some photographs before we head out. So I'm not going to take up the rest of the afternoon. I would like to just offer a couple of words. First of all, don't forget, please come back to Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We'll be right here to congratulate all of the seniors on their journey through high school. Our graduation ceremony starts at 7 p.m. that night. So please come, fill the chairs and the bleachers, and congratulate all of the seniors on this amazing journey. Lastly, I don't actually have a lastly. It's one of those things when crunch time comes. I wrote out I can actually show you the secret. Closing remarks. Do you see that? That's what happens when you procrastinate. Don't procrastinate. Get your work in early. So, last thing I'll say, if you would please, if you're not getting pictures taken here or heading to meet with your relatives or friends, please head back to your 6th-hour class for the last few minutes. And lastly, the places you'll go. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming to our 2019 Awards Assembly. Thank you.